Bam! You're tuned in to the BAMBIZTALK podcast, where we explore the thrilling world of entrepreneurship through the eyes of successful business owners themselves. I'm your humbly eccentric host, Angel Garcia, co-founder of the BAM Entrepreneurial Center. Each episode, we delve deep into the unique stories of entrepreneurs who've navigated the ups and downs of the business world to give you the opportunity to learn from both their triumphs as well as their challenges, providing actionable insights to propel your own entrepreneurial journey. So, let's dive in and walk the path of entrepreneurship together. Welcome to the BAMBIZTALK podcast, your beacon for building business success. Bam!
I love it.
Welcome, Miss Maria. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Angel, how are you? I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. And actually, it's an honor to have you here because you are a superstar. Absolutely. No, you're the consummate professional. And we're going to have fun today.
Awesome.
I want to bring out, your expertise, who you are, your experience, how you got here, right? And then, what's in the future for Maria Duron.
Wonderful, Angel. Thank you. Again, I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we met through a mutual friend.
We did.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly. Shout out to Kelly.
Yes, shout out Kelly. Thank you for the intro.
Absolutely. Good people. That's the thing that's around us here in Midland, the Permian Basin.
Yes.
There's just a lot of great people. It's community.
It is.
Right. It's small, but not really.
Mm-mm.
It's fairly large with taking the entire Permian Basin.
Yes.
But then still, people know people all over.
Always.
It's a tight-knit community. And, I love that about where we're at.
Yes.
And so you've been here for quite a while.
I have.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. As an Air Force brat who never lived very long anywhere, this is the longest I've lived anywhere. And so grateful and blessed to have had this and continue to have this opportunity to live here.
So that's interesting. So that's how you get to, interact with all kinds of people everywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're forced to, and as a military brat, to do that everywhere, and then it becomes a skill set.
Yes.
So then you are used to, drop me in anywhere, and it becomes part of your own background, your experience. You're used to trying to make friends, getting to know and acclimate to the community as quickly as possible. And so I've carried that into adult life, even moving around with my husband as he started stores, so I had to.
Yeah, I can relate to that because, I'm not military, but oil field brat.
Oh yeah,
Pops was oil field, so
yes.
we moved all over Texas for sure. And getting into towns with like 3,000 people, it got into a 10 or 13,000 population town. I'm like, wow, it's a big town. There's so much to do here. Oh, they have a Walmart.
What a unique experience! But I think it is an experience moving any size community, but just being able to be that flexible makes you more attuned to, hey, what's happening around here? What's going on? So you can get caught up like everybody else.
And especially like in our field now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because it does take reading the table.
Yes.
Reading other people.
Yes.
It's kind of like all your senses are like, this is how I'm going to interact in this scenario. And it's just like second nature. You don't have to double think about it. It's reactionary and it's a method of operation.
Truly is. Yes.
Yeah. So, as I was saying when Kelly introduced us, you are a Grow with Google partner.
Yes, I'm a Grow with Google partner and also a Grow with Google trainer. So a trainer actually is commissioned and sponsored by Google to come in to speak at events. And that is what I did. I was actually brought in 7 years ago with a team of 15. So there were 15 of us on the Grow with Google speaking team, and it reduced down like everything else did in 2020 to 7 of us. Yeah. And there are 7 Google trainers, and that's what we do. We come into conferences of any sizes, from webinar to in person, and now we're able to speak on Google's behalf. So I'm
one
excited.
Of 7 in the nation.
One of 7 in the nation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm very honored to be able to do that, especially when I think of a lot of where I've grown up as an adult has been in smaller communities. So I always think, would I ever be, somewhere where I'd be on a national stage or working with a national company? And I'm very honored and grateful to be able to do that, but also represent small businesses, because a lot of people don't realize there are so many small businesses who are still trying to handle things like even staying on the job and then also trying to build their business, or who are multitasking from being a family, taking care of their family, teaching and growing their children, and then still working full time, and now starting on their side hustle because they want to start their business. So there's all of that where we don't have high-speed internet that you might have at some of the larger communities. You don't have all the resources, and because of that, I love the fact that I come from smaller America in my adult life to be able to say, these are some of the things to consider that you may not consider that you have just at a plug-in or a quick switch that you're putting on in a larger community.
100%. Because, just because you have a website doesn't mean the website's working for you.
It is not. If we build it, they will come. That does not work.
That doesn't work here, right? And because Google is so interconnected with everything, it basically is the internet to a certain, you can make an argument for that, for sure. But if you don't connect your Google in the right ways and flip those little switches everywhere and make it with wherever your website is built on to the Google, because I thought I knew what I was doing, and then I really start to dig in. I'm so far behind. Okay, well, let's get this going.
There is so much, and it's ever changing. That's the thing, is it just wait a minute, and it is changing on everything from AI to how is keywords and search strategy. And if you're just starting out, if you're coming in from either brand new and you've been home-based and you still want to operate home-based, or if you have a brick and mortar and that's your expertise, the location now being on a website is different, and that's a different skill set. So now you have a huge learning curve, and I understand that, while you're still serving customers and sourcing what you need and taking care of team members if you have teams.
That's such a good point. So that old maxim, right? You had to have that storefront on Main Street, the right corner, right? And to a large extent, that's not as important anymore, right? No. It still is to some extent.
Sure.
But it's not going to make or break you, because if you do have a solid digital presence, people will find you and go to you.
They will.
That's how they find you now.
That is.
We're all on our phones.
We are. I mean, 84% of us go to the phone first when we want to know, go do or buy. Even locally, we want to know who has a local brand, who's open, who has it in supply, who might even have some of the competitors of that. We look at all of that.
Yeah, I mean, because it's right there.
Yes, it is.
Like before, you'd have to go to a Yellow Pages.
Yes.
Then you'd have to make a phone call.
Yes.
Or actually drive there and ask questions.
Yes. Yes. You didn't have all of this at your fingertips. I mean, I do, and existed well before Google existed. So I remember the time, even went to school before all of that was available. So it was a much different world then, as soon as then everybody was able to stay in touch with, back then, personal digital assistants, PDAs. Then it became, the phones, and then everybody who predicted that phones would be also our next camera, and our video camera,
our GPS,
everything, our little computer in our pocket, we got it.
Journal,
It is. Now it's the one that keeps you focused. It's the one that keeps time of everything. It is where you keep all your project organized. It's your whole office. Yeah.
It's everything. Because, there's that, wallet, phone, keys. Adam Sandler did a song about it. Wallet, phone, keys. Wallet, phone, keys, right? Well, all that's going to be condensed to just your phone.
It is.
You're not going to need a key anymore. You have your phone. You don't need a wallet anymore, really, because it can be all on your phone.
Yes.
So that's where we're going. You extrapolate so far in the future, which not as long as a lot of people think, but I mean, we're going to have chips and our eye scans. Let me pay for that.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to draw the line. No implementations here, but I definitely, with a phone. It's when I'm out and about speaking for Google, I'm getting into my hotel room with my phone now. I'm at the airport, I'm paying with my phone. And so, it's here. The future is coming and here, and then it's even going to be after.
Other things that we can't even think of right now.
No, not even.
I've pretty much resigned myself. Once I hit retirement age, which I don't think I'll ever retire.
No.
Right? But once I get up there, I'm going to volunteer. Chip me up. I'm good. I've lived my life. I was part of the, primitive society. Now just usher me into the new transcendent.
You're ready to discover and explore. Okay, I'm going to go to you then, Angel. I'll say, Angel, what do you think about it now?
And then I can just spit it out. No, that is, we are getting into some.
We are.
I just was listening to a podcast, and I didn't know this, but the author who wrote The Matrix also wrote Terminator, and it's actually part of her same whole story.
I did not know that.
Terminator
Oh, wow.
is just the beginning, and Neo is actually his story begins in the Terminator.
Oh my gosh.
But it's just never mentioned in the movies.
Oh.
I haven't read the books, but wow.
What a neat fact, though, to know. That's on that storyline. Ooh. Yeah, because that's definitely something you hear now, especially with people talking so much about AI. You'll hear people say, I grew up during Terminator time. Don't talk to me about that. I don't want Skynet to take over.
I understand the fear, because, of course, it's been fed to us, sci-fi. But the scary thing is that, well, there is a lot of sci-fi that does become reality.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Yes,
the submarine, that was written, submarines, like underwater ships, get out of here, right? But, oh, hey, well, we got underwater ships that launch nukes. Whoa, right?
Yes.
So that's something, and so that's what I'm saying is I understand the fear.
I do, yes.
However, we're here. So, like Elon Musk had, he sent out the warning. He said, let's take a pause. We got to, how many thousands of scientists and professionals to sign it. It didn't take, but
yes,
the warning's been sent. Yes. It's out there. But I think if we can navigate it, we can maybe go as long as possible without being overtaken by our lords.
Overlords. The thing is, I know it's fearful, but I also have so much belief in human tenacity and human invention. Mm-hmm. So the exploration and discovery, when they say we just use a percentage of our brain, I believe that. And so I think, back in the early, 18 or 1600s, they may have never thought, that they would be doing this and driving around in vehicles. And here we are, and we're flying. So there are things that they never thought of. So there are things for us in our future that are still to come, that are exciting things. And I know new can always be scary, but it's also pretty exciting if you get to see it and say, I remember when. That's what I love about when I chat with my parents, because I see them now. I mean, my parents are in their 80s, and they check email, they check their phones, they like to, they do, they love WhatsApp, they do some, FaceTime.
Yeah.
And they're in their 80s. So they have friends who've never even opened email. Yeah. They don't know how to do text. Mm-hmm. And here my parents are. And I was like, see, that's the way I see myself.
Yes.
I will be the one like, okay, what's the new thing? Tell me, explain it to me, show it to me.
Yeah.
And they know it so well. So I hope I can do that as long as possible.
Absolutely. Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page-turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
The BAMBIZTALK podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever-so-legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on. At Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
Possible.
Absolutely. It's great to have examples like that.
Yeah.
My father's the same way. He's always got the new iPhone, and at first he was like, "You got you kids."
Yes.
But then he got one.
Yes.
Oh man, that's you don't get off it now.
I giggle about that sometimes when we'll go out to eat. When I go visit them and they're sitting across from me, both in their phones, and like, these kids and their phones nowadays. And they look at me and they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "I'm here, Mom and Dad."
So, you're a Texas Tech grad.
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
So
Red Raider.
UT Longhorns. Much respect.
That's okay. We're
Texas
Texas.
schools. We're Texas
okay.
schools.
Texas schools. Yes.
But you also went to Cornell.
Yes.
University of California, Davis.
Yes.
University of Phoenix.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It was interesting because I did my undergrad, all of the work at Texas Tech, and then I was hired on with HEB actually right after graduation. And actually right before, I was one of those who went to, got in the line and did the little bidding and everything for the interview at school. So I was able to get in with the corporation, and then decided I wanted more skill set and to learn different things. And actually HEB helped me with Cornell. I went through management training and management studies with them. And then I decided to do some UC Davis because I wanted a little bit more aspect into the mathematics and the formulas and the business stats side. So I wanted to understand that better. And it was later, after I gave birth to my firstborn, that I decided, you know what, I want to go through and get a master's in organization and management. And I was doing that through the University of Phoenix. And that was fascinating because one of my classmates, who was actually somebody that I did team projects with, was a submarine commander. So he's of the Navy, a submarine commander. And I thought, how better than in this format that I can actually be in a class with a submarine commander? Because that's a lot different leadership skill than somebody who, they can leave at noon if they decide after lunch they don't like this place. You don't leave the submarine, so you're...
Yeah.
How do you handle that? It was really unique to see his organizational struggle as a leader. So it was definitely, had it not been for the fact that University of Phoenix was online already at that time, I wouldn't have had the classmate that I would have had at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a unique experience.
Yeah. Super cool. But you, from Texas Tech, it was a marketing degree.
Yes.
So you always knew that you wanted to get into marketing.
Always in marketing. I'd always been involved with marketing, even as we moved through the Air Force. I mean, as one of those kids that, sold greeting cards, the little Christmas greeting cards door to door to make a little extra money. Then I got involved with the Muscular Dystrophy Association, raising money for Jerry's kids. So I was involved in nonprofit even as a child. And my parents were really supportive of that. So they were the ones who, they didn't just let a little 10-year-old wander around the neighborhood. They would actually take me in the vehicle and say at the end of the road and say, okay, hit these, then hit these houses. So yeah, I actually had a love for marketing back then. At that point, it was more sales standpoint, but I wanted to understand the marketing structure, and they were very supportive of it.
Absolutely. And I think that is something that a lot of people miss when they talk about marketing. Right? They listen to the sales aspect of it, right? Because it does go hand in hand.
It does. They're not the same thing. I tell people all the time that your marketer is not always your salesperson or vice versa. Right. But when you can get somebody who knows both, those are two different disciplines that do help generate that revenue channel.
100%.
Yes.
And, in the concept of that, especially when you're putting together your offerings, your services, your / product.
Yes.
Right? There's selling that. And then there's marketing that.
Yes.
What's that difference?
Yes.
And now what you're doing is you're into digital.
Yes.
So that's something else that you've been on the digital forefront for 18 years.
I have been. So it's been back when Facebook first became available to the public, because it used to be that you had to be at a university to be able to get access to Facebook. Everything had to be a .edu address. So I was one of the first who had access to Facebook when it went to the public. And that was really just asking. I have found that in my life that if you're unsure whether or not you have an opportunity at something, just ask. Because sometimes they may not even have a program ready for you, but you asked, and so, okay, she's here, so we'll give her access. And that's how it started. The same thing with Twitter. Twitter had just opened up, and in 2008, I didn't know what Twitter was or what to do with it. So there were about 3 of us who connected on Twitter, and we're like, okay, we all have but like 8 followers each, 8 to 10. And we said, let's learn this together. And we made a decision that every Wednesday from 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time, we were going to jump on together and learn together, and whoever wants to join us can. Well, then we became a chat called Brand Chat, and we
Uh-huh.
actually ran for 12 years every Wednesday. But we had thousands of people come in. We had the CMO of Southwest, of Starbucks, and it was funny because it started just the group of us with our whole 8 to 10 followers. So that's how we
Wow.
learned, was just we tried it, and we were new at the very beginning, wanting to know, how does this work?
And that's the one that turned into you're the top 10 chats in the world.
Yes.
On Twitter.
Yes, it did. It
Wow.
did. So yeah, I got to be interviewed by back then it was Alaska Airlines magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, Huffington Post. It was the even Malaysia Surveyor magazine, because we'd reached into international, where a lot of the attendees
Wow.
were international, but we had so many people attending Brand Chat, and it was the beginning of it. It was just 3 of us that said, how are we going to learn Twitter? Let's learn it together. We're going to make the commitment every hour on a Wednesday. And we just carried through for 12 years. We had people, Full Sail University would send all their marketing students to Brand Chat to get a good experience on what digital is like, and ask people who are starting into the digital universe to work. Gary Vaynerchuk, I mean, he was, Gary V was brand new, and Brian Fanzo, he handles iSocial Fans. Those 2 were brand new in the digital space, and they were involved in Brand Chat. And I think it's so amazing, because back then he was with Wine Library TV.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even the whole Gary V brand.
Right.
So we knew him from Wine Library. And then all of a sudden he was on Conan, and we're just like, what's happening with Gary?
Gary V's, I definitely follow him.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just amazed at how much he's done, how much he's grown from VaynerMedia. I mean, and I remember, though, he would come to Brand Chat, ask questions. He was one of the people that you could always count on. We could just DM each other and say, okay, what are you going to talk about here? Or let's delve into this deeper. And we would just talk. It was honest conversations in and about branding. So we'd ask everybody to bring their questions, and that was our commitment for 12 years.
That's the power of going for whatever the new innovation.
Yes.
Being on the cutting edge.
Yes.
Because most people would look at, Twitter, there's nobody here. Okay. And then move on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or like, what is that? I don't know what that is. So I'm not going to even mess with it.
Yes.
But then you're just like, hey, let's find out about this. Before you know it, you're killing it.
Yeah.
Global.
We're just over here on Twitter, everybody connecting. It was such a great place to connect, and still is a great place. But now we have Threads and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. There are so many different profiles where you can be. Finding where your audience is a lot harder than it was then, because we had only a few channels back then. Just like when you think about TV, there were 3 major networks. That's what we had then. Yeah. We had Facebook, we had Twitter, and I think it was, what was after Twitter then? I think Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram was coming up, but not really big yet. It was owned by another company, so it was kind of who's going to take the video space? Who was it going to be?
Mm-hmm. Around that time, MySpace was still.
Yes. There were a lot of people coming off of MySpace, so everybody had MySpace places, and they were talking about being able to share their music and such. And we didn't have, Spotify wasn't then. So,
right.
Yeah.
I love MySpace.
Yeah,
because I was a musical artist at that point.
Oh,
at that point in my life, so it was perfect.
Perfect fit, yeah.
Somebody go to my page, my song starts playing. Change the background how I wanted. You make it very personal.
Yes.
And then when Facebook came, I was like, that's it.
Yeah. Just
really. Everybody's leaving this cool one for this.
So different, and how many people now have never experienced MySpace? They've heard it, but never. Yeah.
Right. Tom, the creator of MySpace. Mm-hmm. I read something about him. I think it was a podcast. That he's just some hippie dude traveling the world. Like that's the life. I think he surfs every day. I'm like, man.
Yep.
Like that's awesome.
But man, everybody Tom. Everybody asked Tom. What does Tom think? Everything was about Tom.
Yeah. But yeah, so you've been through the forefront of our digital evolution.
Yes.
And not just witnessing it, but you've been part of it.
Yes, I was part of it as people broke into email. So it wasn't until about 1996 when you started to see people come in with email. Yeah. I was on when it was ICQ was how we messaged each other. And Ask Jeeves is how you ask questions.
Jeeves, yeah.
It wasn't. And then Yahoo came out with, okay, you can have Yahoo on here. So Yahoo became big. And then this up and coming Google startup started, and everybody's like, who is Google? What
Who's
is Google?
Google?
What is Google stand for?
Google sounds weird,
Right?
You know, like even Yahoo. Yahoo's a word though, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so we do that. And Ask Jeeves, well, that sounds reasonable, right? Google,
Yes.
like, what is that? You know, but then look at them now.
I know, really. It's to justify Yahoo, because I still remember logging in then and that horrible pitch dial-in sound as you went to go get coffee and did everything else before you even logged in, and then you were like, Yahoo, I'm here.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we can justify that. Google was kind of different. We didn't understand, but boy, what a trip it's been just over the course of 20 plus years, 30 years. It's been amazing to see the innovation.
It really is, because they've invested into what they believed in.
Oh, yes.
You know, often see that, you know, because I'm a fan of, I'm a reader. I'm an avid reader. I'm a bookworm, right?
Love that.
And I still get kind of hurt and angry when I talk about the Library of Alexandria, right?
Yep.
Whose goal and purpose was to collect the knowledge of the world,
Yes.
right, in one place, right? Well, that's Google's goal.
Yes, it is.
You know, is it to log or to categorize or to hold the knowledge of the world?
Yep, to catalog and to search, be able to search all the knowledge of the world. And it's funny you say that, because I just did a webinar training where I was explaining to everyone that, you know, Google is not the World Wide Web, and a lot of people think it is the internet.
Right.
It is the biggest library of the internet.
Yeah.
And that's why us small businesses, it's on us to enter our digital properties or our books, our website, all the digital we have about us needs to be entered into the library.
Yes.
We can hope that Googlebot will find us, but when we are purposeful and enter it ourselves, then we know that it's found us and we can be seen, which is important, because if people can't find us, they can't do business with us.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and that happens so much.
So much. I see so many people post things and they're like hoping, and I heard somebody say this, and it was like a decade ago, so now it's mine. I use it all the time now, but I said, hope is wonderful to have, but it's a poor strategy. So I believe in hope, but not to hope that Google will find you. Let's just go for sure and put yourself in Google's library, because you can do that for free.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
for free. Yes.
And when you do your Google coaching,
yes,
or your training, your videos,
yes,
that's a free.
That's free, and all the Google tools I cover are free. Even people make the mistake, or they make the assumption that Maria's going to talk about Google Ads and she's going to sell Google Ads, and I really don't. In fact, I never promote that unless you've got everything in a row, because then all you're doing is promoting whatever you're amplifying what you're doing. Right. But there are so many free tools, and there's free portions of Google Ads that you can use, functions within Google Ads that you can use that are free. Why not take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Especially when you work so hard to make your money. And I know the blood, sweat, and tears that a family has and the sacrifices that they make for somebody to be in business. Why don't you use that first? So it's really something that hurts me, and I feel so sad when I hear a business that paid for something that I know is free or got taken to try to do something that I know is 100% free. So that's the heartbreak, because I know there were sacrifices in there.
Right. You know, because they're being sold, you know, hey, you got to pay for this to make it effective, because I get those phone calls all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, oh, we see that your Google isn't, you know, optimized or whatever. You know,
$300-400 a month, you too can get everything. You can get it listed for free. Yeah. That's where I have people call me and say, but we're Google. And I know they're not. Google doesn't do those calls. Right. So, but they are very convincing. And if you don't know the space and you're unsure of all the things you need to take care of, that might look like it's relief, but it really isn't. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So it's important to be wary of that.
And there's a lot of that going on right
now. There
is. You know, there's always been your grifters, I mean.
Yes.
But now it's really intense.
Oh, yes.
You know, we get phone calls all the time. And it's emails, you know, you have to be careful what you click on.
Sure.
You know, it's just, there's so many people trying to get in, trying to get your information. I'm not going to say who they are, but National, that's our internet service. And I had somebody call saying, hey, we have this, we already know that you're with us, but we're going to offer you something else. We just need your information. I was like, don't you already have my information? Well, this is for, just to make sure it's you. You called me, right? So it's me.
See?
Yeah.
They're very, very tricky, and the best of the best get taken. So I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, well, I wasn't smart enough or diligent enough. It's easy nowadays, and
Mhm.
that's why it's so hard, and you have to double check and really know this information on and be able to. That's why if you know something and you have a friend starting a business and you hear it here on a training or a podcast, make sure you share with them, because you can think they know, but don't
Mhm.
make that assumption.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
thank you for saying that, because I was going to let something go, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it.
Yeah.
So, back in the day when, email first started coming on, we're starting to get into the digital world. You got all those emails from the Nigerian prince.
Almost always
Yeah.
wants to give me money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? We're related, huh? And, there's always typos. It's not, there's always, and I was just thinking, okay, well, it's actual Nigerians not knowing English well, right? But that's not true.
No.
They do that on purpose. Just so people, like people who pay attention, like, oh, that's misspelled, delete it. Well, they're weeding you out because they don't want to put the effort into you only to lose you at the end.
Yes.
But somebody who engages, they're like, oh, yeah.
This is somebody where I can make some money.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
That's super scary.
Yeah.
That's like using the evil side of customer psychographics.
Yes, it is.
Because you're not doing it for their betterment. You're taking it for your personal advantage, right? And I think that's like a line in marketing, to where it's like fire, right? You have this information. You have your business analytics.
Yes, you do.
You have your psychographics, your demographics, right? And if you know what you're looking at, you know how to break that down and analyze it, that's powerful.
It's powerful.
But when you use it to help, like, hey, this person could really, really use these services.
Yes.
And they would better their life with these services. Then that's putting it to good.
Yes.
And that's what we're here to talk about, right?
Exactly.
This is what your career is based on.
Yes.
So many marketers, we're just trying to do the right thing.
Exactly. Right. Help people to be able to market their business. Not, there's so many, you can go down that road. I love to stay in the space with the people who are focused on how can we make it better, make it easier, and empower you to be able to know what you need to do to make a good decision.
Add value.
Exactly. Yes.
Adding value is like, that's the cornerstone of doing what we do.
Yes. Yes.
Because no matter any business, no matter what it is,
yes,
right? That's because you have a business, it's working, you're solving a problem that's in the world.
Exactly.
Yes. And if you're solving a problem, well, that's value add for me.
Yes.
Because a mathematician, if they're trying to solve an equation, they have the problem solved. Value added.
Exactly.
So
yes.
it's kind of like figuring out a math equation too.
Yes, it is. It is. How does this all fit together, and how does this help and benefit? And the big thing is that people often discount their contribution in that, but they have a lot of contribution in that, and understand that you making a small change in the way you decide, or sharing with a friend, hey, I heard this and you need to learn this, that actual exponential effect that can happen. It's like we talk about the ripple effect. Yes. That'll happen, and it makes a difference to a person, to a small business, to a community or a family, a community, and it expands from there. And to me, that's what's so powerful. When you see people empowered in their small business, when you see their dream being able to have the opportunity to actually unfold and be fulfilled, there is nothing, that fuels my fire, floats my boat, fuels my fire, however you want to say that. It is exactly, I love to see that when you see that click for somebody.
Yes. Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you searching for ways of taking your business to the next level? BAM is your answer. We specialize in crafting high-performance marketing strategies that put your brand front and center right in the palm of your customers' hands. Not only can we create a premium website full of features that optimize your social media and digital marketing presence, but we ensure that your brand gets multiple views from your target audience and even those visiting your competition. BAM is your go-to solution in the Permian Basin. But we're not just about digital and social media marketing. We're a one-stop shop offering a spectrum of services, including business mentorship, strategic planning, market research, and access to capital. That's right. We can get you funding to expand your business. With BAM, you're not just getting a service, you're gaining a partner committed to your growth for the life of your business. So why wait? Kickstart your journey to success today. Call us to set up a free consultation and discover how BAM can help your business soar above the rest. 432-247-8840. Call today and get your business launched. Yes. And as a trainer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I can sympathize with that,
Yes.
because it's like when you're teaching, when you're up there teaching your craft, your concept, or whatever you're trying to get
Yes.
across, they don't get it at first. But during the seminar or during your workshop or class, when you're teaching it, they're like, oh, right. Then you're like,
I love that when the eyes come out.
Mhm.
That is the hardest part in a webinar because you miss that part. You don't get to see that. So I have to look for, what are some other ways that they can express that, either in chat or in how they're tagging, if we're off on socials, how we engage there. But I love that. When that connection is made, it's a spark and it's beautiful.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, it really is.
Because that's what you say. It's like a chain reaction almost.
It is, most
right?
definitely.
Because at some point, you were gifted that light of that realization.
Yes.
And, what do you want to do with the light? You want to keep light and, right? Pass it on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the power of it. So I think this is a good time. You have your philosophy.
Yes.
And your quote is, knowledge is powerful when applied.
When it's applied. Yes, because I'm not trying to, nor are many, not just me, but many people in business. We're not trying to win Trivial Pursuit. So you don't want to be just like, I got it, I got all the factoids, but how do you apply this so that it can get you to your goals? And we're all going to apply a little bit differently and with different intensity, depending on what we're focused on or what our passion is. If, our goal to get this and we want this in a limited amount of time, we might pour it on a little bit heavier, but it still is applying what we learned, because there's too many things that you can waste your time on. Why waste it when you can apply something that you've learned? So that's what I like to tell people after we've gone through a session is think about one or two things, because a lot of times when they come to training, especially digital training, digital marketing, it is like drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. They're just now overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. They're recording, but what portion do they listen to or they go over? Well, now when you ask them at the end, say, 2 or 3 things that you're going to focus on. Write them down for yourself or type them down if you like doing that on your laptop or computer better, but put it down. So you will now hold yourself accountable in those 3 things, and you'll look for opportunities to learn those 3 things. And that's really what you're doing. It's in psychology, they talk about that you're activating the base of the brainstem, the reticular activating system. So when you do that, you realize, I want to do this. Now you start looking for those things that help support that. It's in the simplest term, we see that with if you're, let's say, looking for a new vehicle and you got a beautiful red vehicle, it's the one and only, I got it, drive it off the lot. Now you see 12 of them.
Everywhere.
Because you're more sensitive to it. You've activated that RAS, that reticular activating system, and now you're like, okay, I'm looking for it. The same thing with knowledge. You've just written down those 3 things that you want to start focusing on and that you learned. All of a sudden you're going to realize, oh, I heard this, there's this podcast, this book. I didn't realize there was this post or this article about this. All of a sudden you see it.
Right, and I think that's the power of it. It's like not just reading something or listening to something, watch a podcast, and then, oh, okay, that was cool. That was interesting.
Yes.
Right? I got a lot of information from that. But, you didn't engage the other aspect of it. Like you didn't write those 3 points down. And then it's like when you're studying for a test. You're in class. Well, you're studying, you're in class. Right. You're taking notes, right? Well, then if it's note taking isn't just just so you have it later.
Nope.
Because who goes over their notes later?
Yes.
Right? But it's the physical action that your hand, the connection it creates with your brain to like kind of burn it in.
Yes, it really is. And what I teach people who are in the training, especially if they are trainers themselves, maybe they're with SCORES or SBDCs, or they're training like they're with chambers, and maybe they train or assist other people, or even they're going to train their children, their kiddos. I say, go, what you just learned today, if in the next 48 hours you teach somebody 1 or 2 things about what you learned today, you will actually learn that better. Because you teach what you just learned, and now you actually are teaching yourself.
And that's like a classic way to learn, right? Yes. Because if you can teach it, you know it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do really well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But you also just brought up chambers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were on the original board for the Midland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. Yeah, I was on MHCC board. I had a great chance to serve with a few great presidents. I worked with Cordero, Jerry Morales, and Madeline Saucedo. I was like, boy, you're asking me to pull names way from there. But yeah, so I definitely believe in giving back to the community. So I was involved with the Mex-Tex, from working the souvenirs to helping everybody with breaks at their booth to serving hamburgers. I mean, we did it all to be able to bring and better the community. And then also I was active even with the Midland Chamber, active with all of their membership drives. I still remember Bobby Burns when he had to jump out of an airplane for one of our promotions. And so I was active in there, involved with networking. Oh, wow. And I've been active with chambers all my life. That's one of the things that I did know, that I love the small business community, and the best way to get access to the people who want to do something better is normally with a chamber, because they're looking for something from the chamber. Network, connections, education. They are looking for somewhere to make a difference and to be able to help grow their business. So I've been involved for a long time. Even when I first was out of school and working for HEB in Victoria, Texas, the chamber there. Yeah. The very first event I've ever worked, so I've done a lot of events since then and been involved with the planning and the execution, but the very first event was an up-and-coming singer was coming to sing at our event. We had a little gala event with the Hispanic chamber there, and her name was Selena y Los Dinos.
I knew it.
I was like,
awesome.
I was over here putting out pieces of paper and decorations for the chamber and talking to Selena as she was rehearsing.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was really cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and the experiences that you go through, and like years later, and how she blew up, and
you're amazed. It's amazing. And so I said, I'm blessed and grateful for the journey, because it's connected me to people and been allowed me to connect to other people, and just been a skill set that I've been able to grow and learn. And that's why I am a believer in chambers, because I do believe, like anything else though, Angel, you get what you get out, what you put into it.
Thank you.
Cannot just sit there and say, I'm a chamber member, what do I get? No, if you're not going to the networking events, if you're not going to education, if you're not making connections with people and thinking that it's more than just us talking over chips and salsa, we got to make it more of a relationship building, then you're not going to get anything from it at all, because you're not putting anything in. It kills me when people say that. They're like, I didn't get anything. It's like, what did you do? I didn't do anything. I'm like, okay.
And I love that you said that, because I get asked all the time, well, should I join the chamber? Well, are you going to get involved? Because my automatic answer is yes.
Yes.
Join the chamber, get involved, you go to do things, what can you do, and, go meet people. But if you're just going to join them, pay the yearly fee and not go to any events or not get involved or not do anything, then why join?
You're 100%. That's just
correct. So it depends. Like everything else. It depends.
It really does. But you're right. That's good advice to anybody. You join, go for it. If you're not going to join, then that's maybe not the right time. Maybe you're building your business, but then you come back and join when you know that's going to be a priority for you.
Right. And I would also argue that it depends on what business do you have.
Exactly.
Because it could help you build your business.
Oh, right. From the very get-go. From the very get-go. It just depends what your business is. I agree.
Right.
What you do.
Because it is valuable on a lot of levels.
Yes.
And like what you said, you get what you put in.
You do. You absolutely do.
And I think that goes across the board for pretty much everything in life.
It does. And the power of networking, that is the minimum that a chamber can give you if you participate in that. And that has been, as an Air Force brat and somebody that's moved with my husband everywhere he started stores, that is something that being a part of the network, whatever that community's network is, has always been important to me, just as a participant in that community.
Yes.
So you need to know it. That, to me, doesn't even matter where you're at in business. You need to know your community, on what the decisions are being made, who you need to know, and who needs to know you, because there's so much value and resources there that you're not aware of if you don't network and connect with people.
100%. Well said. And there's you alluded to it, just the knowledge of your community.
Yes.
How do you expect to have a successful business and you don't know your community? You don't know your market.
Yes.
That's like the most important part.
Yes.
Know your market. Because if you don't know your market, you don't know your customers.
How can you market to them, right? How can you align with what is it they need and know the urgency and the importance, or not the urgency and importance, or maybe the actual deficit of it? You don't know.
Right, because you could have the ultimate product.
Yes.
Right? But if you can't communicate that to your market, how do they know? You have another quote in here that's just talking about that. And I love that, because I wanted to bring it up again. But you said, let me find it here. We got a lot on you. I'm gonna have to edit this part out.
Yeah.
Where is it? I thought I had highlighted it, but I guess not. Maybe it's up top. There it is. Okay. Like, yeah, you had this great quote here that I wanted to say. So you say, nobody cares about what you do because they don't even know you exist.
Yes, they don't. So that's where part of connecting with your community. So while we talked about with chambers, there's so many places that you can connect with your community. It is if you're in the business realm and you want to really know and fast pace your knowledge and connections in the community, the chamber is the way to go. But I've served on the United Way board. I actually served on the school board of the charter school when it first came in. I've been involved with, what brought in the Feast of Sharing, involved with senior services, the Diabetes Foundation, Keep Midland Beautiful, Keep Odessa Beautiful, the Odessa Arts Council. I've been involved with all of those to get to know the entire community of all different walks of life, different focuses, whatever the people are working on. That's what I needed to know to understand the community. And that was important to me anywhere we went. And I think that's part of, too, what I brought from being an Air Force brat, because one of the things when you do PCS, so that's move with the Air Force or any military, they call it PCS. And when you PCS, you are usually have a sponsor to that community who tells you everything. And then you go to get involved and find out what's happening at the arts and recs, what's happening in schools, what's happening in entertainment. That's part of the mission when you first come onto a base. You're learning that. So that's something that I've made part of our procedure just because of, we're as a family operating. And it's funny I say that word just came out of my mouth, as a procedure. I mean, as part of how we do things when we come to a community. Sorry, you can tell the military background. A friend of my parents, they both are military, the husband and wife. And the wife had to go help her mom. And the way the husband said it, I know the family real well. He said, all right, my wife is deployed to Wisconsin to take care of her mother. And I thought, okay, deployed. So procedure, that's the military background.
Yeah, well, that's helped you along your way, right?
Yes, it has.
It's kept you structured.
Yes, it does.
And that's my kryptonite. That's where I had to actually put intention on improving.
Yes.
Because I am a free floating hippie, and because I'm a musical artist first, right?
Creative.
So
yes.
I'm creative. So when I create, I really don't have an end in mind. I'm just creating, So that's kind of how I lived life for so long. If I needed a good job, I could get a good job, right? I wasn't trying to make a career out of it. I just know I could get that job. Sure. I always used to say, if I get the interview, I got the job.
There you go.
But here's the turning point. I started making up my bed. I heard a speech from Admiral McRaven, and one of his speeches, and I went to go see him speak in Austin.
Oh my gosh.
And he brought up to make up your bed. If you want to change the world, start by making up your bed. Well, I want to change the world type guy, be so creative that I change the world, right? Well, wasn't really changing anything. Just floating along, just having fun. But then when I heard that, that very next morning, I started making up my bed. I've been making up my bed for about 12, 13 years now.
Look at that.
And it has made all the difference because I used to rebel against making my bed. I was like, why? But there is something to that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because that one little action, daily action, does lead onto other action.
Most definitely, Angel, that consistent action. People discount it because they want the silver bullet. What's the magic formula, Maria? Yeah. And it's not sexy. It's consistent, persistent action that will always win out. I can't tell you how many times that applies.
100%. The discipline, right? Yes. Structure.
Yes.
Right? I always used to, I don't want to be trapped. Little did I know I was trapped.
Yeah.
Yes. I trapped myself. But once you do apply structure and you do become disciplined, then you like, oh, I'm more free now than I've ever been.
Yes. Now you can deal with other things. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. It's just like such a reversal of the mentality that I had before. And although I still like to venture there, but now it's intentional to venture there and it's more fruitful because now I know that I'm creating with a purpose.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because
that's an aha.
Yes, right? With purpose.
Yes.
Everything with purpose.
Yes.
Because if you just be, well, let's do this because it's here. Right? But then if there's no end goal, right, then what are you actually doing?
Yes.
And I feel this last decade have been transformative for me in that manner. And it's still hard, right? Because I'm still a hippie at heart.
There's that creativity that's needed. You know, all have our different strengths, but I love this quote. I wish I knew who said it, but it's one that I've loved for a long time, is never confuse activity with accomplishment. And I'm like, it's true, because I can make a day busy. So one of my routines is I journal every morning. Yes. And I lay out my intention for the day. And if I don't do that, I can still fill up 12 to 24 hours with completely nothing to do with what I was doing, but I've been busy. Yes. It was a full day. I didn't do anything, but I did.
How was your day? Oh, it's been busy. Yeah. Wait, what did I actually get accomplished?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm tired. Yeah. No, so yeah, that's important to note that yes. Structure and discipline, yes. It is your friend.
It is. You can make it your friend. You can.
And especially being a small business owner.
You have to. I was remote before it was cool to be remote. So I went remote back in 2004. And everybody then thought I was just staying at home to do more housework. I was like, no, it's a lot different. And we actually can have video calls. And I was like, no, Maria, we'll meet at a coffee house. I said, okay, we can do that too. And it really takes structure when you are on your own. I tell people a lot of times that people think they're going for freedom when they're creating their own business. But what you're actually doing is you're going to work for the hardest, most demanding boss ever, yourself. Because you always want it done better and more effectively and more profitably too at the end. So you never seem to please yourself, and it's something that you need to become comfortable with in that you are setting goals for yourself and you have that discipline and consistency.
So that's like level 1, right? Yeah. Like to please yourself.
Yeah.
That's the hardest one.
Yes.
Right? And then if you're going to grow, well, you have to hire people.
You do.
That's another hard one.
That's not easy. I was like, a lot of people, I have to take a deep breath then, because when do you get to the point that you're profitable enough to support that? And will you give them what you need to do? Because so many of us have ingrained that, it's quicker if I just do it instead of teaching somebody. But when you can teach somebody and they can assist you that way, you can get to another level that you can't get to now in the current path of operation that you're doing. You may not see it yet. For those who are visionary, they'll see it and they'll make that happen. Yes. And then they'll start ascending to different other levels in their business, because now they realize there's always another hill.
Always. So it goes to the more you know you don't know.
Yes, exactly. That's it. You're like, I didn't realize that over there too. I need to learn that.
Yes, right. Then with the hiring, it's like you have to buy back your time.
You are.
Because if you're the only one and you got all this going on, you don't have time.
Exactly.
And it's not a what do you call it? It's not like you're just putting it off. There's literally no time for you to get to what you have to get to.
Exactly.
Because if you're doing your own bookkeeping,
scary place.
Yeah, it is. But then you also have to do your own marketing. Okay. Well, you also have to do your own service fulfillment or product fulfillment.
Yes.
Making sure your customers are happy. Taking in the orders or sending out the invoice or paying your bills, right? So there's all, oh, wait, I got restrooms that haven't been cleaned in a couple weeks. It leads to overwhelm, burnout.
Oh, definitely. There's so much that you need to do to run a business that you could be solely responsible for, but if you have others, that's where you can get and increase your time. But that's hard to do. A lot of people, it's hard to set that structure. So I appreciate when we can have somebody to be able to bounce that off and say, okay, where's this? Or to have other groups of people where you say, okay, this is what you did, so I can kind of learn from you too. There is a lot of value in that.
100%, and that's the power of all the digital world now, right?
Yes.
The podcasting.
Yes.
The audiobooks
Yes.
are amazing. You just put them on two times speed.
You're getting it in.
Yeah.
We think much faster than our mouths can speak even.
Yes.
And we I show that every day. I'm like, okay, I was in this thought and over here. So I just jumped and made that huge leap. That's how I got over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the more you practice
Yes.
that, the more natural those huge leaps become.
They do.
And you said a while ago, to be the visionary.
Yes.
If you're the visionary, you can connect those dots down the line.
You can.
While you're getting to that point.
Absolutely.
And it's really the 2 times speed, right?
Yes.
When you're consuming it, right?
Yes.
So I'll listen to it out loud on speakerphone, or just while I'm around the house doing things. And then, are you listening to it like fast? I'm like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, how do you even understand it? I don't get it. Fast forward a couple weeks. So I'm listening to books in double speed now. And yes. And it's easier to comprehend. They're like, yeah.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, you don't think you can do it at first. The first time you're like, this is a little different, but then after that, it becomes how you just can now consume information. You realize your brain is a lot faster than what you think it is.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I learned this years ago, speed reading.
Oh, yeah.
I learned to speed read. And because before I would read, I love to read, but for some reason, along the way they're coming into adulthood, I would, when I was a kid, I won March of Dimes contests and, just outread everybody, right?
Yeah.
But then when I got into young adulthood, I started to lapse, to repeat reading, right? And I'm like, what's going on? Well, I was at UT in Austin, and they offered a speed reading course. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, now I could zip through books and documents and capture what I needed from it in a quick pace, but that quicker pace is what allowed me to consume that.
Yes.
And not just gloss over it and not know what I read, but
right. Now still have the context of what you read.
Yes. So it's kind of counterintuitive.
Yes.
But your brain does work a lot faster than we think.
Definitely.
Because now when I listen to a podcast on regular speed, I'm like,
so slow. I'm not the only one who's like, uh-oh. No.
Is this on slow motion or what? No, it's regular speed. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, but it's not just time saving, but it does help you retain information.
I agree.
And that goes for a lot of, like, say in marketing, when you're having to look at your analytics.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like, it's a lot.
It is a lot, and it overwhelms people most of the time, so then they don't look because it's too much. And I tell people, make sure you know what your goals are, because how can you measure anything if you don't know whether or not it's contributing to a goal? And once you know what those goals are, now you know the 3-5 things that you need to measure on a daily, maybe a couple of things on a weekly. But now you know what to look at, and you can go in there and get in and get out, because that's where people will ask me, especially with Google Analytics. They'll say, Maria, what do you look at? I said, I am the data nerd that can spend all day in Google Analytics, but running a business, I know I need to look at these 4 things, and I'm in and out. And that's what I look at daily. That's it, because I don't want to get distracted by the other cool factoids. There are things you need to know, and there are things that are neat to know. That's the difference. You need to know the difference between those two.
Right. There's a difference to say, oh, wow, that's really cool. And like, no. Your KPIs right here. What are those? Yes. This is bottom line essential.
Yes, exactly.
This is at the end of the day, this is your business staying afloat or not.
Exactly.
If you're not hitting these, if you don't even know what you're aiming, what is that? The checker gets with the checker checks or something like that.
You do.
Because if you're not monitoring it, if you're not looking at it and staying, okay, look, we're this far, we had half the month is gone, and okay, we still got to catch up, so we got to ramp up. And, or, hey, no, we're on pace to really outperform it.
Sure.
So you're doing good.
Sure.
Like when writing business plans, they convey the importance of what break even is. It's like you have to know where that is. If you don't have a general idea, the more specific the better, of course, but if you don't have a general idea of what your break even is, then you could be losing money month over month, and it's like a ghost. It's a margin that's not seen, and it's just creeping up on you slowly. Before you know it, like, oh, I didn't realize.
No. And then it's too late. You're noticing now when it's screaming that it can't. You need to notice beforehand, and that is the hard thing, without knowing what your goals are and without checking, and then realizing if you don't have the skill set to get there, what can help you get there? What do you need? Where are your deficits at? Because yeah, it'd be great at everything, but we're not. We have our superpowers that we're really great at, and there are other things that I believe people can do anything that they want to if they have enough time and energy to put towards it, but not all of us have enough time and energy. Some of us like to sleep sometimes. So we're looking at this thinking, all right, what is it that I need to know, or where is that gap that I need to fill that I can't make? I mean, I can make it in probably 20, 25 hours, but there's somebody out there who can make it in 2 or 3.
Yes.
I need to find that person who can do it in 2 or 3. And that's been really a learning curve for me to be able to experience that and to try that and then realize, you know what, I don't know this. And it's okay to say you don't know this, because you can't. I mean, it is too impossible to try to be the best of the best of the best of
everything.
Yeah, that's too much. You'll burn yourself out.
And that's so true, that because there are people out there who do know what they're doing and what you're trying to.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the key thing is like you have to pay attention.
Yes, you do.
You know, because if you don't know what you don't know,
yes,
you know, you're just kind of floating, and you know, it's only bound to end up, one way negative. You know, if you know you're missing something, and absolutely, it's okay to admit, oh, I don't know this. I try to say I don't know this as often as I can, so I can find how to know it.
Yes.
You know, find somebody that knows it.
Yes.
You know, so speaking about that, people can get free information when you do your training.
Yes, they can.
On the Grow with Google, and you also have a regular newsletter that comes out, or emails that come out with great information.
I do tips of the week, trying to build on what they're learning or how they're applying. Because people will. That's what I appreciate when people come to training, is they'll message me afterwards and say, this is what they're applying, or these are some of the challenges they're having. So I'll try to put that in the newsletter, because for every one that asks or says something, there's another couple of dozen that won't say anything.
Yes.
You know, so, hey, I'm just going to put this out in the newsletter, and maybe this is hitting you at the right time. But they've given me a big hint on that by saying, look, I have a question about this, or I'm really struggling with this. Or, you know, found that this worked really good, which then now really is a springboard for, hey, let's try looking at this or focus on this. So yes, I do have the Webinar Wednesdays happen every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So just look for the hashtag Webinar Wednesday. You'll find us. And then also that's Wednesday. That regular Wednesday thing has been in me since Brand Chat. That's always there. And then, of course, the weekly newsletter comes out.
Yeah, there's great information.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I'm glad it's helpful.
And how would people find that? You said look up the hashtag, but
the hashtag Webinar Wednesday, or just Google Maria Duron. You can just Google me and you can find it there, or you can go to KLI Brand. So it's KLI Brand. It's not Klee Brand. It's KLI.
I've been pronouncing it.
So a lot of people do, because they most of the time whenever I enter it anywhere, they won't take the little periods. They'll say no, it has to be just letters. So I'll put KLI Brand, but back when I first started the business, it was No Like Ignite LLC. That's what we were. And then I realized, okay, that's too long for a domain name. It's too long for people to write. It's too long for people to use as a hashtag. I got to shorten this up. Yeah. And that's where it came from. It was necessity.
I can relate to that, because when we first started, we did put the periods in band, right? And I ran across that problem, so it's just bam.
It's just bam.
and that helps a lot.
Yes, it does. People remember that too.
Yes. Well, amazing, Maria. Do you have anything to like parting words, but that are focused towards the entrepreneur listening to this podcast, our listeners? Do you have any words of advice for them?
Entrepreneurs, do not believe when somebody calls you and they say that it's Google, because it's not. More often than not, Google is not calling you. In fact, when you start a phone call with Google, because it usually starts with you trying to reach out to them, email, a chat. There is some sort of hint that Google is going to be calling you. You get, even a phone number you have to call that instigates the call. So you will see that happening. And I say that sincerely, because I've heard way too many people who lose a lot of money, and that's when I get to see them, is after they've already lost the money. So it's too late. The second is, I tell people, entrepreneurs, and this is because everybody wants to look for the shortcut, we share our Google passwords with other people, because we think, oh, this will help you get into access my business profile, so my business listing, or it'll help access analytics. And we actually, just like socials, have different roles that we can assign different email addresses. So I tell people, never give away your Google password, because that is the key to the kingdom. The hard part in the Google world, and I've actually been on stage where I've had lines of hundreds of entrepreneurs and small businesses come up to me, Angel, to say, listen, I lost access to my reviews and to my business profile because I gave my password to somebody. Can I resurrect it? And I tell them, Google sees you and them as owners equally. And that's hard. So the team will try to help you, but it could be months upon months if that is even solved.
Wow.
So to stop that headache right away, because those are the two pain points we hear people crying about all the times they spent money or they lost access to their Google accounts or their Google listing. That's important to keep in mind. And then look for those opportunities. Look for those free opportunities to help learn what you're doing. If you don't know digital, find the person that resonates with you that can teach you about that. It could be that it's in a webinar. Maybe you come in person to something. Maybe it's somebody who can teach you. Maybe they were at a webinar and they're going to teach you from what they learned. So they themselves are learning themselves. But that will help you advance with digital because there's so much going on. But more importantly is knowing what your actual goals are and what measures those goals. So if you talked about KPIs, there are a lot of people that don't know what their KPIs are. They think somebody else's KPIs are their KPIs. And you're like, no, that's for their business. You at the area that you're at or the level of your business, you need to measure these things. So know what they are so you're not wasting your time just with so many great factoids. You don't need those.
Good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that. You know, and you brought up something that I just forgot to mention that I wanted to mention on the spot. You are the reason that BAM became a Google partner. Yay!
I'm excited for BAM. Yes.
Me too. So excited for that. And not just being a Google partner, but learning so I could pass on that knowledge.
Yes.
And then being, involved with you and your brand to for future work, to see how can we impact the community?
Yes.
How can we impact and help support small businesses in the Permian Basin?
Exactly. And that's what I love. I'm so grateful that you're a Google partner because Google partners are not just accepted left and right. They actually have to be vested in the success of the people that they serve as well as the community. So bravo to you for being a Google partner. And that also shows your commitment to this community because you are showing that you are here being able to provide the training as well as, hey, here's a great resource. And we know we work with them. We can recommend them. We can be able to help support you. That's huge because that's that thing that we as entrepreneurs, that other people's experience is really more valuable than other people's money. We will, in order for us to get that experience, we will lose money, time, and energy, and sometimes focus. And that is something that we can't buy back. So being able to have that is such a benefit to our community. So thank you for becoming a partner because I'm excited for our community. The more partners we have, but really with BAM, because your focus is really on them having successful businesses and being able to market that effectively and grow that effectively. And I'm excited for our community.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And thank you so much for saying that and for recognizing that and like wanting to work with us.
I'm excited.
Because I think we have something set for September.
We do. I'm excited. I really am because it's the hardest thing as a Google trainer because I do, since there's 7 of us, we cover the entire nation. So here I am, I'm over in Los Angeles or I'm in Baltimore and I'm looking at the community going, my home community. I want to take care of my home community.
Yeah.
I'm in Austin, at the Austin Public Library they're presenting and I'm thinking my home community. Yeah. So Angel, I am so excited to work with you because now here is my home community.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited because there are so many great people here and entrepreneurs and I want to make sure that they have that same kind of access. I know they have that support through you. Now I'm excited that we can combine together and help that together. So I'm excited.
Me too. I'm looking forward to working together and seeing what else that we can just do to help.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you,
for what you do and who you are. And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me here too.
All right. Well, you have a good one. And hey, guys, follow Maria, look her up. And she's a valuable resource. And stay tuned because we got a lot coming. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Angel.